Once again, I open it. I already know that I installed the guest edition, but I'll show it to you again. So what I'm doing at the moment, it's not a cloning, it's my source machine. I found one here, that's the one with a graphical interface. And I'm going to show to you what exactly you need to do so the machine to be in perfect state and afterwards you to clone it. Okay? So 10.02.38, so you file, preferences, network. It's on a NAT network. I'll click here on the last thing at the bottom, port forwarding, and I need to create a new rule. So I'll create a new rule, and this rule actually will be 127.0.0.1. That's my local host address, or the Oracle VirtualBox hypervisor here. I'll choose a port which is not taken. By the way, if you open the document which I provided you with, the Linux document, if you open it, you could actually open it, right click on it, and open with Notepad++. So if it will be a little bit better organized and you're going to see more stuff. So if you go there, you're going to see a little bit down here. Let me find it. The netstat command. Now, I didn't put here actually the command for the how to use it. I think we have it in our shared folder though. So I'm going to copy this command. The upper command which you see here, it's for Linux. This one is for Windows. So I'm going to copy it, just this one. I'll do copy. Then I'll open the CMD, the command prompt, and I'll paste the command. Now, I need to choose which port I'm going to use for this one. It would be, I need to transfer my, I need to transfer my SSH. As you see, 222.222.8888 are already taken. So I could put here something like 333, let's say. Let's try 333s. If I click enter, and if it doesn't show anything, that means fine. If I do instead, if I do 3.2s, now you see it shows it's taken because apparently it is taken. Okay, so that's how I know, and I'm gonna put here this 3. Then I need to put the IP address, which was 10.0.38, if I'm not mistaken. Let's move it a little bit. Yeah, 38. It shows here. Okay, so I'll put 38, and the standard port we're accessing the SSH is 22, right? So the destination port is always the port, the standard port we use, right? And as you see, the guest IP is whatever I have on my guest. That's my virtual machine. I'll say OK. I'll say OK. I'll say OK. I'll even close this guy. And I'll minimize it. And then I'll go to my Mobexterm. I'll close this one too. I'll open my Mobexterm. And I'll do here right click in new session. I'll say SSH, and the remote host is 127.0.0.1. That's my local computer. The username I'll be as a root. It's not a good practice, but I want to do it. And here I'm going to do the three which I used before. For the name, I'll choose Z. Only Z, so to be at the bottom of my list there. I'll click OK, here it is. And if everything is fine, as you see, because I already used this, I'm able to log in right away. Okay, for you, it might ask you for the password. Just don't forget your password and use it. So here it is. I accessed this guy remotely. Well, I could prove it right away, open the terminal, and I could do who or W only, and it will show it to me. I'll send accessing :0, that means from the graphical interface. PTS 0 and PTS 1. You see, there are two pseudo terminals. So if I do TTY or teletype, well, you see PTS 1 is this one, where I am. And if I do here TTY, well, here it is, PTS 0 is this one. So it shows that I'm actually actively accessing it remotely. Always. So I will minimize this guy now. Actually, I'll close this, Control D to close it. I'll minimize it. And now I could copy and paste everything what I want. So when I say everything what I want, I'm going to use several resources. The one which will be mostly in use will be obviously what I have on my on my Moodle, the documents. Another one is the server -world. This one, be sure it has the /en there, because otherwise it will be in Kenji, in Japanese. The guy who supports it is a Japanese. So now by default you go to CentOS 7, but if you go other OS configuration, you're gonna see all the other guys. You have since the beginning of the usage of Ubuntu, Debian. This one will be on CentOS 7 actually, which is by default. I'm going to use everything what is here. Most of the thing I'm going to use here. Now another one is the Red Hat documentation. Since CentOS 7 is the part of the Red Hat family, so if you do Red Hat documentation, here it is, accessredhat.com. When you go there, it shows everything what you could learn about all the services Red Hat is giving. That's a lot of things. What you see here, everything is like when I click on the first one, which actually I'm interested in. When I click on the first one, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which is CentOS, you see I have all the version, starting from version 4, 7.8, which is a beta version, and 8. Now, in the moment I'm in 7, so I'll click here. It will change everything on the right side. You see it has all the releases with their release notes on the 7.0 up to 7.7, which is the stable latest one. And then you have installation guide, the image builder, and so on and so forth, system administration guides, security, storage, development, virtualization, clustering, identity management, Linux containers and hosts, you name it, guys. Everyone, when I click on it, the moment to create the user is now. I created already mine. I have a password, and so I'll check first the updates and upgrades. So here's the command. I'll copy the first one. These are 3 commands actually. It says, and I'll check enter, and I'll wait until all of this is done. Now it will say, it might say at certain point some of this command which I'm going to copy after this, some of them don't work. Don't worry about this. We're going to find out which doesn't work, and we're going to stop it, and we're going to install it again. So here it is. It's updating some things. I could, because by default, actually, it's shutting down. It's shutting down the, after 5 minutes, it's stopping the screen. So I could check it, and you could check yourself too. It's kind of boring. Although in a real environment, it's a good thing. If you go power, when you go power here, it says a blank screen never. That's good. I mean, I did it. It's by default is 5 minutes. And then you go to privacy and screen lock. It will be on by default. I did it off already. Okay. So in that case, it won't shut down the screen. It's a good thing to do. So the next thing I need to do is to copy the whole block of this code here, all of these commands, to copy and paste in my MobiXterm. I'll click OK. I'll click Enter. You see, when this backslash is done, the next row has this arrow there. So I could click Enter, and it will start the installation of all of these packages. Yeah, there is an error of the name of the Wireshark. I'll check it. I'll do it. And it's done. So let's install Wireshark again. So I'll do yum install -y Wireshark. And let's actually change the, oh, it's already installed. So let's change it wasn't properly done. So it's done now. what I need to do now, if you haven't installed the guest edition already, like me, you copy and paste these two rows. After that, it will be very fast installed. After this, you come to your virtual machine. You go to your virtual machine. Then you input the guest edition. Go devices, insert guest edition. You confirm it, and you wait until it's installed. You're gonna understand. You're gonna see it's installed when you see a message. Click enter to go out. You click enter, it goes out, and you need to reboot after this. And after the reboot, you're gonna be able to resize it. If you implemented your desktop or something else as a shared folder, you're gonna see it, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's how you're gonna do it. If you don't have to, but you need to do it. We need the guest edition to be here. Okay, and then you be sure that you're gonna eject the disk. You don't need the disk to stay with the guest edition to stay there. Okay. Okay. So do this. You have several ways to do it. The first way is to say SC status. Now you see it's enabled. Okay. It says here enabled. Now the other one is get enforced. Well, actually it will show me again the status, but it will show it shorter, and it says enforcing. Okay. Here it is, enforcing. That's what it says. Now you have two things to do if it's actually there. One is if it's enforcing. If the result of get enforce is enforcing, you do this one. If it's permissive, you do this one. So actually, you have two ways to fix it. The standard way is to do VI or Vim. We use already Vim. Then you do etc SC Linux, and here there is a config file. You open it, and you go wherever it says here on SC Linux enforcing. You go and you delete and you change with disable. Then you need to reboot the machine. Okay. Now for now, I just gonna do whatever they show here, meaning you need to use the streaming editor. That's why it's called SCD. It's streaming editor. It's very powerful. There is one which is more powerful than this one. Actually, it's called Awk, AWK. So Awk is. So I'm going to do whatever they say. And if I check now, well, it's still enforcing because I need to reboot. Okay, and then it will be okay. So something else I need to do, guys, is to disable the firewall D. Remember, we have the Linux firewall on the kernel level, and the firewall D and IP tables are actually the kind of graphical interface, command line interfaces we could use to manage the firewalls. So we need to stop both of them for these labs. Okay, we're going to stop both of them. So I could check the status of both. So to check the status of both, the command I'm going to use is like this: status. But if I want to do more than one, I need to put it in curly braces. Okay, then I'll put comma, and I'll put the other one which I want to check, which is the IP table. And I'll close the curly braces, click enter. And as you see, firewall D is on. For the IP tables, it doesn't show me anything actually. Maybe I didn't install the service. Let's check it separately. Yeah, it's not installed. So basically, it's not installed. I see why. It says IP tables. It's supposed to be installed with this command, but you see there is an error here. It says services. Well, it's not services. It's services. Okay. That's why. So I need to install it. I'll do IP table. I'll do yum install. I will install it. It's supposed to be with commas. When I click, you see firewall D is on. IP tables is not on. Now, when you enable, remember there are two things you need to do for the services or daemons. You need to start it for the session, and you need to enable it. As soon as you reboot, it's to be there. Now, you could do it with two commands, systemctl start and systemctl enable. Now, nowadays, there is a shorter way, actually, if you do like this. If you do like this. It's the same for enable and disable, actually. When you use disable, like I'm going to show it to you, it will stop it as well. So I'll do disable, and I'll do -- now, which means disable it and stop it. If I use enable -- now, that means started it and enable it. Okay. Now I'll do it for the both services, as you see. Okay. And if I check the status of the both services now, I'm going to see both of them are shut it down and both of them are disabled. Okay. That's what I want for these labs. I want my firewalls, both firewalls, to be off. Okay. And I did it. All stuff, everything has been done, guys. Everything has been done. Something else I could do. When that's done, guys, what I need to do is to do the updates upgrade again. So I'll do Control R for the reverse search, and I'll start writing down update, and it will find it. If it doesn't find the proper one, Control R will find it several times when you do it. If you would like to go back in your, because that's researching your history, you have 1,000 records in your history until it starts, starting it from over again. So actually, Control R is looking into the history. And here it is. I'll click on this command and I will install. I mean, if there is something needs to be, well, obviously there are nothing anymore. So it's just reboot again. Something for my network, right? And the easiest way is to use the network manager. One of the ways is the NM2, using the graphical interface. I could set the system host name. It says GUI. Here, I'll leave it like this. It's okay. And let's check my network connections. Viber 01 is here. By the way, me to remove the Viber 01. If I do, you see my EMP0S3 is automatically. That's okay. If I would like to remove the Viber 01, it's very easy actually. What I need to do is to do systemctl disable -- now. Oops. And this is what I need to do to remove the two interfaces which are shown there, and they don't do actually anything. So I need to reboot, as I mentioned. So if the command properly done, if I do IPA now to see my interfaces, you see I don't see anymore the two interfaces which were. These are for virtual machines. I don't need them actually at the moment. The same way, if you do enable -- now, the same command, like I did, this one, but enable -- now, they will appear again. Simple like this. So at certain point, always you guys could check if you still have connectivity. Sometimes you might lose it. And it's good to check it by name, right? If you see the connectivity by name, that's fine. Okay. So now what I'm going to use, the HTTPD is already installed. There is a welcome page by default. I'm going to remove it with the next command, with the following command there. Here it is. The next thing, what I'm going to do, I need to do some changes. I need to implement some changes in my here it is. Well, I did already this. The next command will be to access the configuration file, and I'm going to access it like that. Now, Vim, instead of VI, I'm going to use Vim. By the way, if you remember, guys, on the same site, you have how to, so I'll click enter, I'll put set number to see the numbers, and I'll follow what they say. The first row I need to go is number 85, if I'm not mistaken. The first row is the number 86, actually, the line 86. Now, going to the lines is very easy. Into the command prompt, guys, into the command prompt, you do colon, and you do the number of the line. In my case, 85. When I go, click enter, and I'm there. Okay? So colon 85 brings me there. I need to change this here. Actually, I need to change it. I'm gonna do my domain will be called HouseNet, like they proposed there, HouseNet .local. That's how I'm gonna call it. Okay. The next, I need to go to line number 95. Here it is, and I need to do the name of the server. I'll remove the hash. I'll come here and I'll change www. I'm gonna leave it. That's how I'm gonna call one of my computers, which will be in the DMZ. And I'm gonna call this one HouseNet.local. www.housenet.local. And then I need to go to line 151. So I'll click escape, I'll click colon, and I'll do 151, and I'll go to the line where I need to be. Here it is, right away. I'll click I end, and instead of none, I'm gonna do all as they propose. Then I need to go to 164 line, which is a little bit below, and I need to add some more indexes which I could use. .cgi and index PHP. Or you could use even index. It's not mentioned there, but you could use HTML you could use sometimes. It's not necessarily always to be HTML. It might work, this one too. Okay. Now the next one, I need to go to the end. Going to the end is easy. Click escape. Do Shift G, so for capital G, to bring you to the end. If from here or from anywhere else you would like to go to the first line, it's colon 1. Okay, click enter, and you're gonna go to the first line. Shift and G will bring you to the last one. Okay, now once again, it's in the command mode, not in insert mode. Okay, so what I do, I'll click insert mode, I'll click end, and I'll click several times. Then I'll go to line 355 where it says here. I'll copy everything what I have on that, what they say I need to follow to the end. I'll copy it and I'll paste it here. Say OK. I'll say escape, WQ. I'm there. And if I would like to start my server now, guys. Now, first of all, they say here the firewall rules you need to do. Well, we stop the firewall, both firewalls, IP table and firewall D. And basically, we don't need to do anything. What I need to do is actually to say systemctl, and I need to say enable -- now, and it will be started and enabled. Now, how I could check it? If you see here, guys, I installed a browser which is called elinks. That's a command line browser. You install it hopefully too. So if I do elinks here, well, first of all, let's do our page. As they propose here, we need to open with the VI one location. Here it is. I'll click Y and I'll copy and paste whatever they say here at the bottom. I'll say paste again. And now you see, actually what I'm gonna see will be test page. But I want you guys to do something more. Instead of just test page, I want you guys to do at the end empty space / empty space and your name. In my case, I'm gonna say SN. So test page / SN. So when you're sending me your screenshots, I see your names. It's fine. If someone has the same name, if 2 or 3 people has the same name, be sure you're gonna put me with underscore your student number. Simple like this. So let's test now if we gonna be WQ. We'll save it. Let's test to see if we're gonna do it. We'll be able to access. And from the command line, it's very easy. You do elinks. The browser starts. You say OK. Here's the browser, and it's asking for HTTP. HTTP colons // localhost, because that's on our local host. Enter, and if you see test page sent, or your name in your case, that's what we need. And of course, we could check it from our graphical interface, of course. I could do here, I could close this, I could open my browser. And then, well, I could go even further, guys. What I could do, I would open the preferences, I'll go network. So here it is. I could do port forwarding again, and the rule, which is for this .38, that's my machine, I could copy and paste it. I'll copy it, and instead of 333, this time I'm going to use, eventually, I could use 33343s, and instead of 22, I'm going to say 80, because I'm accessing it through HTTP, right? And actually, what I could do now, if I open a browser, well, let's test it in my machine. I'll do localhost. And I'll be sure that I'll put HTTP in front, HTTP : / localhost. And here it is, test page is sent. You're going to see yours. Okay. And now, as we mentioned, if I open my browser, my real browser, in my real machine, here it is. And if I do HTTP and 127.0.0.1 : 43s, remember? And here it is. I'm accessing it from my real machine. Okay? When you do the port forwarding as supposed to be, no problem. Any questions? So when I open it, the first thing what I need to do is to go to this link, open it in a new tab, and do whatever they say here. No, not all of this. Basically, that's what you need to copy. We copy this row, and we put it here, and we'll install it. That's a repository we're going to install. We need it. It's like the one which is called here, we install in the beginning, apple-release. That's another one we use. Okay, this is another one. And as you see, there are more, but I wouldn't suggest use them now. And the priorities actually is when the system is missing. Okay, so it's downloading it now. And the next thing is to do the environment variables following the second command there. Here it is. And then you need to check the version. They show. So you could do MySQL actually -- version. It will work too. Here it is. It will show it to you 10.02.22. And then you could see where actually, with which command you could see where exactly it is. To show it to you where it's installed. So I'll do the next line after this, which is the configuration file. And I'll do whatever they ask there to do. That's the file. Well, it's actually a small script you need to put there. So if you would like to start at the login time, I wouldn't mind it. It's okay. Just click inside Y and then paste the code. Do escape and WQ to save it, and it's done. Now, here's the configuration file on the configuration part of the server. You're gonna do it. We're gonna do set number here to see the line numbers. I did all of the things which are there. Now I need to start the installation. Now it's very important you guys to follow exactly what they say here. So we do, when you do MySQL secure installation, actually we're gonna start installing our, setting up our database. Okay. So there is no current password for the root, so we're just gonna click enter for no, as they say. Okay. Set the root password. We need to set the root password. So when you see the Y and it is capital, that means that's the default one. So if I click enter now, that's what will be. It's like me clicking on Y and then enter. So the new password, it will be even unsecure and short, which is not good practice. Okay. Now remove anonymous users. I'll say yes, which means enter. Disallow root login remotely. Now you need to click yes here, guys, but I want to show it to you. So I say no. I will remove the database and I will reload the privileges. Okay. And if I follow what they say after, actually I could connect now to my database using, I'll put the password which I just created, and voila, it's there. Okay, now here it is, my IP address. Well, I need to put 127.0. Well, before doing this, actually, I need to allow it, right? If you see here at the bottom of the document, the guy explains that is working on the port 3306 TCP. So that's what we need to do. File preferences, network, open here, port forwarding. I need to copy one of these. I need to copy one of these rules. I could copy the last one. Okay, because 238 is the address still. And I could even say 5 trees now. Okay, there are 65,535 available ports. So I could use the 33,333. If you know how to check if it's, but I'm pretty sure it's not open. And here I need to say what the guy say. It's actually 3306, and it's TCP. If it was UDP, I could put UDP. If it was TCP and UDP, I could create another rule which will be UDP. That's all. Say OK. 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 Minimize this. I'll put here 127.0.0.1. I'll put, instead of 3306, I'll put 5 trees. I could prompt for the credential, but my user is root, as you know. I put my password for the user. I'll do open. Okay, it says host 10.0.2.2 is not allowed to connect. That's fine. In my case, it's a root. In my case, is the root. Once again, that's a very, very bad idea. Okay, it's extremely not good to be done. Let me just reboot the MariaDB actually. MariaDB. This time it will work. When I click open, I'll say save, and here it is. I'm accessing my database from a graphical interface remotely. Now, I will close this one. Okay, we're done now with this. So basically, we're ready to clone our machine now. What I'm going to do, though, I'm going to stop the MariaDB, and I'm going to stop the browser. The browser as well, because now I'm going to clone it. I don't want my machine by default to have everything on. So I'm going to do here for the database. I'm going to disable now. So I'm going to stop it and I'm going to disable it. And then I'm going to stop also the HTTPD. I'll do Control R and I'll write down HTTPD. I'll do Control R again. Well, it doesn't work. Control C. I'll do system. Now, when the machine is stopped, actually here, that's the machine. What I'm going to do now would be to first I'm going to create I will create a snapshot on it. It's already have some, but I'll do another one. I'll say take, say OK, and then I'm going to clone it. Right click, clone. I'll call it source. And I'll say here everything, link clone, and I'll generate a new MAC address. I'll say clone, and it will be actually right away created. Well, this source actually, I'll call it not source, I'll call it, that would be my DMZ. Huh? I could call it www. Okay, and then I'll clone it once again, and that will be my LAN. I'll say settings. I'll say on the settings, I would say, actually, no, I'm gonna clone it, right click and do clone. And I'm gonna call this one a LAN. I'll say everything, link clone, generate new MAC address, clone, boom, and LAN has been installed. I have it twice, now it won't allow me to do it again. This one I need to change the name. And the next thing what I need to do basically here is to create another machine which will be my attacking. My attacker will be this one. So I'll click clone again. I'll call it attack. Let me see the spelling though, because I'm not very sure in the spelling. Okay, attack we're gonna say like this, ETACH. So that will be the attacker. Again, everything, link clone, generate new MAC address, here it is. I'll move it at the bottom here. And I'm done. I'm done. Before actually, I need to do I need to check their settings. So on the network part, for the attacker, I'm gonna choose here what I'm gonna do. I'll go file, I'll do preferences. Actually, I'm gonna go file and I'm gonna change here the host network manager. I'm gonna create several. I created only one once, number 2 now. I'll create 2 more actually. I'll click create. I'll confirm. It will create number 3. And I'll do it once again, and I'll create number 4 here. Now, because I'm using already the first one and the second one, that's why I'm creating 2. You need 2 only, okay? So basically, I'm going to use number 3 and number 4. Now, you see, when you create them, you see, I'm using it because this network I could access from my real computer. Why? Because when I open here, when I open the network internet settings, and I navigate to the Ethernet and do change adapter options and navigate here to the, you see, I see them now. It says virtual only, virtual number 2, number 3, number 4. So if I click on the number 4, let's say, and I'll go properties, okay, and I'll navigate to IP version 4, you see, that's the address I could access it on. Now, the beauty of this is actually I could change the addresses and they still will be accessible. So what I'm going to do now, here I'm going to change my addresses. First of all, I'm not going to start the DHCP servers here. I don't want the DHCP server. And when it says here 192.168.127.1, actually I don't want this. I want, if you see per the schema, it's 100. So I'm going to change to 100. Okay, that's for my LAN. And I'll say apply. And when I go to the other one, which number 3, which will be my www, on this one I'm gonna, well, actually this one's supposed to be 200. I'm sorry, that's supposed to be 200. And the other one's supposed to be 100. So I'm gonna come to this one and I'll change this thing here to 100. Do apply, say yes, and it's done. So now, that's per the schema. LAN supposed to be .100, the DMZ is supposed to be .200. So I'll say close on this, and I'm gonna go to the LAN. I'll do settings, and I'll choose the network which I just defined. I'll do here host only adapter, and I'll choose number 3. Here it is. Okay, it's automatically will be, well, it's not be automatically, I need to set it up, okay, because there is no DHCP server, remember. There is no DHCP server here. And on the www, I'll say settings, I'll go to the network, I'll choose the host only, and I'll choose number 4. Okay, now something else though, I need to then also check my RAM. I don't want too much RAM. I could choose gigabyte and a half, which is 1000. Well, actually what I could do is I could just click in front. I'll go to the system. I'll go a little bit, click once, and here it is. That's a gigabit and a half. I'll do the same for this one. I'll go to the system. I'll click once, and I'll go to the attacker, and I'll do the same actually. I'll go system, I'll click once, and it's there. And let me just double check, it's a NAT network, that's fine. Now, the last thing we need to install is, the next step, guys, is to install our firewall. So say new, I'll call it FW, let's say, okay. Now, the type is BSD, it's a Berkeley software distribution, and we need to choose the 64-bit. Let's go with 2 gigabyte. And let's create it. Oh, it's already have a machine like this. Yeah, here it is. Okay, we call it FWLL. Okay, no problem. We'll create it. 16 gigabytes is more than enough. Whatever you have by default, you just create. Okay, let's move it into the sources. That I'm gonna clone it too, right? So. What I'm doing now in the settings, I don't need to do anything here. In the system, just to remove the floppy. Storage, I need to add my image, which is supposed to be in my, here it is, OpenSense. I already downloaded it. Here it is. On the network now. Now, OpenSense, in difference with pfSense, the first adapter, it's installing not the one, it's installing the LAN. So actually here I'm gonna choose my, remember, my host only adapter, which is number 3. So because that's my LAN. On the second adapter, I'm gonna first allow it, and afterwards I'm gonna put NAT network, because that's what is my one. And the third adapter, which will be the DMZ, I'm gonna enable it, and I'm gonna choose the 4th on the host only adapter. So the first one is my LAN, which is host only adapter. I don't need to do anything here. I mean, it's a firewall. You don't need any of this. So I'll click OK, and I'll start the installation. Then what you write down, you click inside. You see by default it's giving for your LAN 192.168.1.1, and for the one, it's giving me an IP address of the NAT, which is 10.02.44. You see. So what I would do now, it actually will be to, I know already check it. Installer is the username. Installer. So the username, guys, is installer. No, it's a little bit different than pfSense. Installer, and the password is OPNSense. Installer and OPNSense, and it will show you this thing. That's the installation wizard. OPNSense. So click enter on this. I'll accept the settings. Enter, enter, enter. That's the only difference. You don't click enter. You go to MBR mode and click enter then, and then you just wait. It's asking for a new password you create for the root. I'll create a short one. With tab, I'll move into, retype it, and afterwards I will accept it. And now, when I'm prompted to reboot, I'll reboot. Now, when it reboots it, because it won't remove the CD inside, actually, if you leave it to reboot, it will start the installation over again. So that's why when you see it it's starting to reboot, like here now, you just shut it down. Hardly. And then when I see this guy, I'll remove from the settings, I'll remove here the storage. You see it's here. That's why I need to remove it. And I'll restart it manually. Here it is. So when I see F1, I'll click F1 so to speed up a little bit the boot process. And it will show it to me how exactly to.
We have three options: set these settings, change key map, and change video file.
So when it starts, it looks like this. Now I could use the root. I could use the root and the password which I just created. And I'm gonna see something very similar to pfSense. Okay? And what I need to do now is to go to number 2 to set the IP addresses. Then I'll choose the number 1 for the LAN because the other one is okay. Configure the IPv address via DHCP, no, I click enter. And then I need to put the new one, which will be 192.168.100.254. Not .1 because it's already used, remember. 254. Then I'll choose 24 as my subnet mask. I don't need a gateway address, so I'm going to click enter for none. I don't want this, I say N for this. And I don't want this, I'll confirm N as well. Enter. I'll say Y for the enable the DHCP server on the LAN. I want to be enabled. And I need to put 192.168.200.200. That's, oh, I'm sorry, 100.200. 100.200. And the last one will be 192.168.100.250. And yes, I want to revert to this protocol. That's the same as pfSense. And that's my IP address I'm going to access it from. Okay, that's my IP address. The beauty of this is, because it's a host-only adapter, I could just simply open my, browser on my real machine. Here it is. And I could write down this IP address now here, 192.168.100.254. And here it is. I'll say root. And I'll put my password for my root, which I created. I'll save it. And the initial screen will start. The initial wizard. It's very, very similar to pfSense. I'll say next. I'll say here firewall, let's say FW1 or FW only. I'll choose, as you remember, the domain was the chaosnet.local. Language, primary DNS, secondary, we don't touch anything anymore. We say next. Here we need to change the name to America, if you remember, Toronto. Here it is, Toronto. Do next. Now that's for my one interface. DHCP is fine. Something which is very important, don't forget, guys, this tool we need to uncheck because we're using static, we're using private IP addresses, so otherwise it won't work. In real environment, you don't touch this. It's supposed to be checked. We'll do next. That's my IP address and the subnet mask. That's fine. I'll do next. I'll repeat the root password, which I use now. I don't need another one, but I could change it. And I will reload. Okay. When I go to the dashboard here now, continue to the dashboard. And here how the dashboard looks. And I could, the first thing actually I'm going to click and check for updates. Okay. I want it to be the latest version. This is one. I'll say update now. It will reboot after this, the firewall. 535. I'll say close on this. Oh, there are more. I'll say update now. Say okay. All the updates I'm gonna apply. Whatever it says, I'm gonna apply. After the initial wizard, guys. After the initial wizard, we need to access. We need to do some adjustments, guys. So, well, we're gonna do this actually after. So let's do. Let's start the other two machines now. So let's start these two guys, the WW and LAN. So I'll start the LAN first, and I'm gonna start the WWW as well. Here it is. And actually, if I would like to organize them as per the schema, kind of, I'll put my firewall here somewhere. I'll put my WW here and my LAN here, something like this. By the way, I could start the attacker as well. So here's the attacker. I'll start it as well. Here it is. I'll put it on the right side. So, you know, like on the firewall, I could do the DHCP, you know, it's better now. Let's create a DHCP. So on the firewall, I would go to the system, to the services, and here DHCP version 4. That's what I'm gonna click. And I see my interfaces. Well, I don't see the DMZ. So there is an interface here on the top. I'll click on interface and I say assignments. And you see there is new interface. It is listed, but it's not created. So I'll click on the plus sign and I'm gonna choose it. That's the OPT1. I'll say save and it's done. And if I click now on the OPT1 here, I could enable the interface. And I'm gonna change the name to DMZ. Okay. Now, I don't need to block the private networks. We said it's okay. So what I need here, I need a static IP address. It's asking me what would be the IP version configuration type. I would say static IP address. And the static IP address, it will open now block where I put the IP address will be 192.168.200.254. And I need to change the mask to 24, right? And I'm gonna save it. Okay, so it's enabled. Now you see on the left side, I see all the interface. I'm gonna go to the LAN. I'll click on the LAN just to check if everything is okay. On the LAN interface, I have static IP address. I already configured it, that's fine. And I'll click on the one that just to check. One, I have DHCP, it's fine. Once I do this, I'll go to the services. And on the service, I'll click on the DHCP version 4. And what I'll do, on the DMZ, I will allow my DHCP server. So it says the available range. And I'm gonna say from 192.168.200.200. I'll copy this, I'll paste it on the right side, and I'll say 250 here. Okay, now I need to configure the DNS. Now the DNS is the firewall itself, and the IP address of the firewall is the IP address actually is 254, and it's 1 here. That's the IP address, 100, I'm sorry. So the firewall itself is the DNS. And the gateway will be 200, obviously, and 254. That's the IP address of the... So the gateway for the DMZ is 200, 254, but the DNS is the LAN interface itself, 100, 254, okay? And domain name would be, if you remember, it's the housenet.local. I'll copy it. I'll go and put the domain search list, the same thing. I'll go down and I'll click save. Okay, and then I'm gonna go to the LAN and I'll do similar thing. On the LAN, I'm gonna choose here 100 to 200, and then it's automatically, even though we've chosen then 200, you see it's changing it. So here I'm gonna say 250. Okay, I'm gonna copy one of these guys. And when I go, DNS server will be itself. So it will be 254. The gateway will be the same. And the domain name would be, as you remember, housenet.local and housenet.local. Okay, so that's the thing. I'll save this one and I'm done now. So actually what I could do from my from this guy here, I could now access everything. I could access whatever I want, the LAN, the WAN, and so on and so forth. Basically, I'll go to the LAN. I'll put my password here. Now, since it's by default, it's supposed to be DHCP, I'm going to go and check if it's accessing the new IP address provided by the firewall. So I'm going to go and check here, wired connection. It's on, as I see. I'll say wired settings. In the profile name, I'm going to change the name, actually. It says it's connected, right? I'll click here on the gear. You see, it shows the IP address, but that's the first IP address because that was the first scope. I need to change this. In identity, I'm going to call, the name would be not EMPS03. I'm going to call this LAN. That's how my network connection is called. Okay, and then I'm going to say off. I'm going to say on. I'm going to go back, and now I expect to see, well, it's still, you know, it's still doing it. I would expect to see 200 here, that's what I did. The default route, the DNS, everything's here. Okay, so this guy is okay. Now, if I ping from here, when I open the terminal, and if I do ping Google, because it goes through the firewall, which is done, as you see, it's pinging Google by name even. Okay, so it's okay. I don't need to check anything else. Obviously, it's working everything here. Now let's configure the other one, the DMZ. So let's open the DMZ now. That's the attacker. It will be the last one. Here's the DMZ. Well, it says connection failed. Activation of network failed. Well, let's log in first. And what we would do is to try to fix the network. What I could do is to come here and look for into utilities. I need to find out it's not on, as you see. I'm just gonna click here. I'll click and I'm gonna do wired settings. It's fine. It will work. It's on. I'll do off and I'll do on.
We have to put its name
DMZ. Yeah, I'm going to change the name to DMZ, and you could do it too. We go identity, I'll do DMZ or www, whatever you want. And we wait we're going to do apply. And we wait, if everything is fine, it will get the IP address from let's check here. Let's open the terminal. Let's do IPA. And you see it doesn't get any IP address at the moment. It doesn't show anything. Let's see. It might be a problem with so I changed the parameters. I delete the one which was not working, and I created very fast, for less than a minute, I created a new one. Here it is. To do so, to be able to ping internet and our gateway, actually is to go to the firewall and go to the firewall rules and then go to the DMZ. Okay, and then you need to apply to other rule here. Okay, it's on the interface DMZ. It's IP version 4. The protocol will be TCP. Well, ICMP will be the protocol actually. Any. So after implementing the rules on the firewall here, after implementing this rule, we're pinging now by name. We don't ping we pinging by IP address. The Google, it doesn't ping by name. It is because here in the in the services, DHCP4, we need to, for DMZ, we need to use this IP address, we need to use as a DNS as well. So we'll put it here. And we're gonna save it. And then I'm gonna stop this one again. The way I did it before. So I'm just gonna say off. I'll wait a little bit. I'll say on again. I'll check my IP address. And I'll check if the Google is pinged by name. The guy advised we're gonna delete this rule. We don't need it actually at the moment. So I'm gonna come here in the rules again, the firewall. I'll go to the rules, DMZ. I'm gonna delete it. So I'm gonna say delete this one, say yes, and I'm gonna need to apply the changes. Now I need to create an alias. So I'll click alias, and I will click well, I need to add new here with the plus sign. Okay, and I'm gonna, so once we create the alias of the web server, here how it looks, on the content we have the IP address, then we go to the NAT, and we need to choose the port forward. That's the path actually. Okay, and we need to add a new path rule here. Here what we do, once again, we access NAT, which is the port forward here, which is the path. Interface is 1, IP version 4 is the TCP IP version, and with the protocols TCP. We need to apply it on the 1 address, that's the destination. The destination port range, that's where the translation is happening. So I choose something randomly, 444. And it's the alias we just created, web server. We could put here the IP address actually, but it's well. And the redirected target port is on the other 80. That's where it's supposed to be. And the description is port address translation. Say save. I'll say apply changes. And let's try now to see which one works and which one doesn't. So that's the attackers. It's in internet. I'll do IPA to see the IP addresses. And that's my IP address, 10.02.38. It's in internet. It's in the NAT network. So now from this one, I need to try to access the other one. So let's check what is the outside address of my firewall. That's what I need. So the outside address is 10.02.44. So, okay, I'm gonna do here. What I need to do actually is to open the browser and to put this IP address, 10.02.44. And I need to put the 4444 ports. From my LAN, I need to put the IP address 192.168.200.200. I need to put HTTP in front, just to be sure the protocol will work. Yeah, it's not an error. That means I cannot ping it most probably. There is a problem to access it. It's fine. Let's try this one. So here I need to put 10.0.2.44. Let's double check this. So let's put here the 4444. Whatever you use. So what I did, guys, once again, was to just to change the one. I changed it from NAT network. I changed it to host only adapter. So I created host only 5 because it was trying to do a double NAT, and I didn't introduce it. So that's why I didn't want. Now something which is interesting. Okay, guys. So we have from the LAN and we have from the WAN. Now let me just illustrate. Let me ping here. Let's say. So from the LAN, I'm gonna ping everything. So first I'm pinging Google, right, by name.